What up, everybody? It's your girl July from Kickback Couture, and today I'm gonna go over drum processing. So I picked the worst kick I could find. Well, not necessarily, because I would just kill my entire vibe if I went through kicks to find the most terrible one. And I picked a pretty terrible snare in terms of like quality, and we're going to process them and get them knocking. So make sure that is down and my headphones are up. Cool. All right. So this is the snare I got. Sounds terrible to me. Some of you may like it. Nothing wrong with that if you do. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is add an EQ. It sounds freaking terrible. There's like noise at the end. I need to update my FabFilter Pro Q2 to Q3 in due time. I don't know why I did all that. Just gonna do a low cut and then get rid of this. Actually, whoops, high cut. Make this steeper. About there should be good. Whoops. Alright, this kick just baffles me. I don't even know where to start, so it must be a good example. Alright, here I'm going to edit the sample. There is a pop at the end of the sample. So I'm going to click this pen tool and we'll get this edit window here, and I'm going to fade this out. And now it should not have that pop at the end. We are golden. Awesome. Next thing I want to do here is I'm going to add a transient shaper to make it more punchy. So the transient shaper I like to use is created by, actually, who creates it? This DCAM envelope shaper. And here I can turn up the attack, turn down the sustain, whatever I like. So I could turn this up if I want. Actually, don't want it to clip, but we'll get there in a second. Gonna turn down the sustain. Alright, so another thing we could do to this kick is add a clipper. So it's really trial and error with this kick right here. Gonna add another transient shaper so I can decrease the sustain more. The transient shaper is made by F Expansion, envelope shaper. Bring this down. Gonna add, actually, before I even do that, gonna get rid of this, add another one after this. Whoa, wrong one. Bring down the sustain, and I'm gonna open the sample up here one more time. Click the pen tool and let's listen. I don't want any of this information, so I'm just gonna fade this out. It's like air that we don't need. This right here is the initial attack. And we wouldn't want to turn this up because we'll get this popping sound. So just hit Control Z to go back. If you make any mistake or you do something that doesn't sound right, just hit Control Z. Gonna fade this out. Alright, cool. Now let's listen to this. Now I'm gonna add the clipper. So that overall, that entire process made the drum hit harder. Another thing you can do is add decimort and increase the perceived loudness. Decimort D16. So we're gonna be utilizing the preamp feature here, and turn it up. So initially we see it's hitting at the 0 just about. So I'm gonna turn down the output volume to -2 decibels. Bring this up. And we see it's not hitting up as high. That increased the perceived loudness of it. And this drum is just complete utter trash. But if you had to work with something like this, this is what you would ultimately want to be doing. And we can work it back up to 0. Maybe never. So yeah, it's great, because it's already louder anyways. So this is it before. Of course, without the fades. This is it after. Without decimort. Even if you wanted it distorted, you could add decimort. It doesn't distort every kick, but this one in particular, since there's so much low end frequency, that's what happened. So this process, 2 transient shapers, turned up the attack on the first one, the sustain all the way down. Just because when you decrease the sustain, it automatically adds emphasis on the attack. That's what the outcome result was. So this first one, I just raised the attack a bit. The second one, I brought down the sustain, and the sustain is brought down on this one and the second one. Then I added a G clipper. G clip is just gonna push the signals without having it clip, and decimort if you want some type of a distortion on the kick. So let's go over this snare right here. Similar process to the kick. We can add an EQ using the mixer. We don't need all this low information. Gonna add a transient shaper, envelope shaper, whichever you have, it'll work. Gonna decrease the sustain a bit. I can add G clip again. And now it's automatically like smacking. Now if I want to make this bigger, I can even add some type of distortion. So I'm gonna get rid of G clip just for a second, and let's add let's go with the scream. We're gonna add scream. And let's add another envelope shaper. Getting confused by all the names right now. Now we have a completely different snare. Then we can add G clip again. And it's hitting. Mess with the distortion types. I can even switch this out for a different distortion. We can't use decimort in this case. Decimort is incredibly dope. We can increase the preamp here and the output volume. Switch this off. So there's a multitude of different ways to get them smacking. So this is what it sounded like before. This is just with decimort. All we did is increase the perceived loudness. We turned up the preamp and turned down the output volume. This is with the envelope shapers or the transient shapers. So we just got rid of some of the sustain, turn up the attack. We can add G-clip. This pushes the signal so it doesn't clip. Pretty much the same as perceived loudness. Decimort. So that is how you get your kicks to hit harder and your snares to hit harder. Definitely a trial and error depending on the type of drum you have. As you just seen, those drums are complete trash. If you have access to better drum samples, I would recommend you use better drum samples. But if for some reason you're creating your own and your miking situation might not be the best, or whatever the case is, you synthesized it but it's not hitting how you want to, this is how you're going to do it and go about it. Increase the perceived loudness, use transient shapers, use clipper, things like that, and you will get the sound you want. If you like this video, give it a like, comment, subscribe, and most definitely let me know what you would like to see next. It's all culture. Kick back, cook up, and get those drums smacking.